Welcome to this week's Songs of the Faith. Today we're looking at How Firm a Foundation, a well-known hymn in our canon of music for congregational singing. It's been around since the late 18th century. It was first appeared in a hymnal called A Selection of Hymns, put together by a man named John Rippon. He was the pastor of a Baptist congregation in London. The author of this text, and if you look in the hymnal, it's number 463 in our hymnal, by the way, it just says K, just the letter K with quotes around it, because we don't really know who wrote this. But scholars have dug into this and they surmise that it was probably Richard Keene, who was the precentor or psalm leader at this Baptist church in London. This text is an interesting text in that it actually uses quotation marks, and it's one of the first hymns that takes the voice of God without a direct quote from the Bible, but an allusion. And whenever that is done, it's put in quotation marks. For a second stanza, "Fear not, I am with thee, O be not dismayed, for I am thy God, and will still give thee aid. I'll strengthen thee, help thee, and cause thee to stand, upheld by my righteous, omnipotent hand." That's not a direct quote from the Bible, but it is based on biblical references. And so to show that this was the voice of God, quotation marks were used. Now it's interesting that in modern hymns, I'm going to look at one that we sing the voice of God in all the time. "I, the Lord of sea and sky, I've heard my people cry. All who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save." That's "Here am I, Lord," number 69 in the hymnal. No quotation marks there. It's just assumed that we know that's the voice of God. But back in the 18th century, they were a little more sensitive to the textual sources where things came from. Another thing about this hymn that originally it was sung to Adeste Fidelis, "Oh come all ye faithful," but it later became associated with the tune that we now use called Foundation. This is an early folk song, and the tune itself is an American folk melody that first appeared in about 1832. It's a pentatonic tune, and a pentatonic tune means it's one that uses 5 notes. Now, it's just not these 5 notes, but those 5 notes, it can be an octave higher or an octave lower, but only 5 notes. It's best illustrated on the piano using the black keys. You see, I played that just on the black keys, and the whole tune can be played on just the black keys on the piano, because there are just 5 black keys. That's the key we'll sing it in on Sunday, in the key of G. But the pentatonic is a very easy scale to learn, and it's associated with folk music. When the children come up and Beth has them play on the Orff instruments, those are always pentatonic tunes that are used, because those bars are set up just to create a pattern, a rhythmic pattern that fits with the melody, this 5-note melody. Another pentatonic, I'll show you on the black keys. See, Amazing Grace. And a lot of our favorite hymns and a lot of our favorite tunes are pentatonic because they're so easy to sing, and there's something about skipping those little intervals and leaving them out that's very natural and part of kind of the overall harmonic scheme of the universe. Well, this Sunday we'll sing How Firm a Foundation. I hope you will sing loudly at home as you're sitting there. You know it well. Join in and know that through this hymn we can affirm how strong our Lord is and how God guides us.